and stay. We got a couple honest things to say. Every story's got its sideways turns. Every scar a page where somebody learned. Welcome to Wheelchair Wednesday. Take the weight off, stay a while. We'll talk about the hard days. We'll laugh about the wild. Every week has a story to tell today. Welcome to Wheelchair Wednesday.
Welcome once again to a special edition. Well, I guess every edition's a special edition of Wheelchair Wednesday here on a glorious Wheelchair in April, or Wednesday in April, I mean. Today we have another special guest coming to us with Spinabifida. We're going to talk to him, and we're going to ask him all kinds of questions right after we roll the intro. Welcome to Wheelchair Wednesday. All right, y'all, let's welcome Eric Komar to the show. What is up, my friend?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Let me bring you up here. Wow, okay, there we go. I was wondering why it wasn't bringing you up there. All right. Now, before we get started, and yeah, I'm guessing you're like having me through your phone. Can you turn your phone volume down just a tad?
Sure.
Because I know sometimes that stuff like bleeds through. I know I got 1-800 numbers calling me all of a sudden out of the blue every time. Never fails.
How's this?
Yeah, that's good. Just so I don't hear myself in the background. But yeah, everything sounds amazing. Thank you for that. Eric, thanks for being on the show today. I know, we're kind of filling people in last minute there. I had you on the list, but then I didn't. But I'm glad you hit me up because it was like I was moving stuff around. So today we'll go ahead and just start out like any other. Go ahead and introduce yourself and then tell people about your situation.
Sure. My name's Eric Komar. I'm from Syracuse, New York. It's pretty much right smack in the center of the state. We're a pretty big sports city. We've got some history, with Syracuse University football, basketball. We got our basketball championship in 2003. And we're bringing back a lot of the athletes as coaches now from that class. And I'm a lifelong adapted athlete myself. Played wheelchair basketball since the age of 15.
Nice.
41 now. So actually, I'll run through the progression of my years in sports. It actually started with a wonderful adapted baseball program called the Challenger Division. I started playing baseball there at, I want to say it was the age of 6, roughly, hitting off a tee. And I've gone through a couple different modes of transportation. At that age, I was walking and running on crutches, forearm. They're called loft strand crutches.
Mm-hmm.
So I would stand on one crutch and I would start out hitting off a tee and then advance to hitting pitches. Played that from about the ages of 6 to 15. I met, I'm still have a very good friend who we met through playing that. We're still friends today. He's in his late 30s and I'm 41. It was at the time when I was playing. It wasn't a competition oriented league. It was a do it for fun and exercise kind of thing. And I was seeking more competition. So I went to a wonderful summer camp called High Esteems Camp Goodwill, and one of the counselors that was working there. He was a wheelchair user and a wheelchair athlete. He played wheelchair basketball. And he, when I was, again, I was 15, he invited me to come to one of their practices, and I started playing wheelchair basketball consistently. And I'm still playing that. I'm actually about to go to Syracuse University right after we get off this call, and going to demonstrate demonstrate the sport to faculty who don't use wheelchairs and have likely never been in one or played ball in one before. So I'm about to go do that. So 15, my attention kind of shifted off the baseball to wheelchair basketball. And that was with a team called the Syracuse Flyers. They were eventually taken over. The leadership was taken over by a gentleman who had a broader image, and moved the Flyers into sled hockey. We've done. It's become a adaptive sports and adaptive recreation program. And not only did I have the basketball, but we had sled hockey, we had wheelchair tennis, we had adapted kayaking and canoeing and hand cycling. That has since changed leadership, and it's now called CNY Adaptive Sports, and I'm on the board of that. And if anybody wants to check us out, they can go to cnyadaptivesports.org. To take a look at us and what we're all about if you're in the upstate New York area.
Nice.
So there's sled hockey that I've been highly involved with for about 20 years. I started that when I was in college. I went to SUNY Cortland from 2002. I had a major change and probably some grade issues too that slowed me down a little bit. So I took the 5-year plan and I graduated around 2007. But there was an adaptive sports night at SUNY Cortland where I kept up my skills with wheelchair basketball. There was two-hand touch wheelchair football. So I got a little bit of everything.
Nice. Yeah, it's a lot. So sports is something you'd probably pretty much been in your whole entire life.
Since the age of 6, yeah.
Nice. So nothing's really slowed you down. Now, what do you think you would say would be your biggest fear about being in the wheelchair?
I've encountered situations where I just don't move as fast as I need to. If let's see, I always think about, if I'm time's running a little short on this, but if I'm ever blessed to have a kid, and the kid and we're around water,
Right.
Or if anyone, if I'm nearby anyone that had an issue and like fell into water, that would be a tricky one for me to render aid. I'd obviously call 911 and do what I could, but that would be a scenario where I might struggle. But other than that, fear is not really in my vocabulary. I've kind of, I've hacked in my head. I've played out scenarios like that and others where I can be of use.
Some
in
assistance,
emergency.
right? Not like you can jump in and save the person yourself, but you can do what you can. Yeah.
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 And then it's a focus. My mom's, she's in her early mid 70s now, and wanting to take care of her the way that she took care of me. That's a concern, not necessarily a fear, but I want to do that right. I try to keep my friend base and support base up. Right now I'm a single guy, ladies.
Hey, this goes right into my next question: dating/married. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get into it.
So yeah, what I was gonna say is I want to maintain my friend base and everything, so that when I'm an older guy and I'm having trouble getting around, I can bug them for support. my friend base is already so supportive. I hate to think about this. This is actually one thing I dwell on is how much help I get from my friends and loved ones. But as I get older, I'm gonna need it even more, unfortunately.
Right.
But dating, it's hit or miss. So like the week of St. Patrick's Day, I had a couple dates with a nice girl. Didn't pan out for whatever reason. I don't typically ask for details as to why.
Yeah.
But I got to work on. There's things, controllable things, other than outside the disability that I can work on. We're goofy if we think that money doesn't come into play, that people aren't attracted to money and they want someone successful. So that's something that I have control of. My physical fitness right now, I'm on the heavy side. We're foolish if we don't acknowledge that comes into play, and that's something that I can control. It's traditionally, it's not always the case. It's traditionally, but in a guy-girl relationship, typically, the guy is the date picker. I can do better at not picking boring places to go, picking, better restaurants and just better, more fun activities to take a lady out on, that kind of thing. So there's my dating game has room for improvement, and it's something that I ponder quite a bit. But I'm on the apps, so she's out there somewhere. I'll find her.
Yeah, there's somebody out there for everybody. I do wholeheartedly believe that. And I believe that I believe you're meant to find somebody when you least expect it. Every single time. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're looking for it and you're searching for it, you're never going to find it. But it's when you start working on yourself and start caring about you and working on doing your stuff, boom, it's going to pop up and you're going to be like, oh, wow, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, can't lose hope in that. What is something that you wish you could do that like somebody else can do but you can't, like an able-bodied person or something like that can do? Normally I'll say like, what's something that you wish you could do before your injury, but
gosh, I'm of the mind that there's really there's no way that you can't hack something.
right.
I'm like,
That's one thing about being with it your whole life. Yeah, is you've been in every situation where you've overcame it or figured out a way to do it.
there's adaptive equipment out there for just about anything. I've when I was in college, there was a speaker named Mark Wellman who was a mountain climber, like biggest mountains in the world, and he adapted technology. It was a hand crank. He had a fall, an unfortunate fall, while climbing, as an able-bodied guy, and he wound up he got paralyzed in his fall, and adapted a hand crank that would get him up the rope, and he would climb mountains with that. Gosh, it's pretty tough. Well, I'll tell you from a legalities and being permitted to do things. I'm a huge combat sports fan, so MMA and boxing. Right now, it's real tricky with legalities and protections and all that. It's tricky for adapted athletes to box.
I've seen a couple videos of some MMA wheelchair fight, and that was pretty intense.
It's coming around. I think it's catching on bigger and better in England and Europe than it is over here. And there are some great people that I know here in the States that are working on it. And I'm on everybody's list. I've told these guys that are working on it to give me a buzz as soon as things are set up, because I'm ready to go.
All right. That'd be cool.
Involved. It
That'd be
would.
awesome. All of a sudden, you see wheelchair UFC come into the play, and then the first guy you see is old Eric Komar coming out, hitting him up.
That would be fun.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Let's see. If you could fix one thing about your spina bifida, what would it be?
Well, I can tell you, it's deteriorated, as I mentioned, in my let's say pre-20, somewhere between 20 and 25. My spine started to deteriorate somewhat. I got some stenosis and other things. What I did wrong was in college, I found it easier. I would slip on ice and snow less. Found it easier and faster to use a wheelchair to go to class rather than walk on the crutches, which were my main mode of getting around. And in doing that for, you know, freshman year, I did on my crutches, but the later years, I did mostly in my chair, and I wound up being in the wheelchair for like 6 hours a day when you have 4 straight classes and then you're going to dinner. I was in the chair quite a bit, and I had some atrophy, loss of leg strength and stuff like that. So that's definitely something looking back that I would have done differently. What I could have done is there was a bus stop not far from my dorm. I could have crutched over to the bus. I had the ability to climb the stairs with my crutches. I could have crutched over to the bus, climbed my stairs, and gotten a ride to class rather than just rolling to class in my chair. So in retrospect, I definitely would have changed that because I was always a heavy kid, but that put more weight on
Extra
me
strain on you. Yeah.
and decreased my leg strength. So yeah, that was a big mistake.
All right. Well, at least you acknowledge it. What about your pain level? You in any pain?
Last few days, I've got some numbness and tingling in my right hip, into my right knee. I actually called my doctor about that, so probably gonna be looking at going in the tube.
Oh, I hate that thing.
Yeah, but I had carpal tunnel surgery last year, which was really successful. I've got it in both hands. But I had surgery in the right hand, and that really took care of it for the right hand. And I'm trying to debate on whether or not whether it's really necessary in the left hand. The left hand wasn't quite as bad, but my surgeon for the right hand took care of it almost perfectly. The scar is, I got to point it out. It's a tiny little 2-stitch line on my wrist that even I have trouble finding sometimes. So, but
yeah, it's crazy what they can do nowadays with just a couple little pinprick holes.
Right. Shoulders. When I do crutch, to hop in and out of my truck, and I'm trying to crutch more, especially in the nicer weather, to try to build back that leg strength. But when I do crutch, lower back and knees get uncomfortable. But my shoulders click and pop.
Oh man, I know that feeling.
All the years and all the miles of wheelchair sports, all the hits in sled hockey, they take their toll.
Yeah, I'm not as an athletic a person, even before the wheelchair, man. And like getting in the wheelchair, and before I had my power chair, I remember using my manual, and I would go up and down my ramp for exercise, just to try to keep my shoulders going. And I don't know what I did as a youngster or something, but my right shoulder, every time I get it way back and I'd go to like move up, it'd be a click, 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 and I would think like there's got to be something I can like click it out, like get rid of it, but it's still there. I don't know what the hell's going on, and I don't want to go have it looked at because at this point I use my power chair for most of my stuff. I've been told 2 different things by 14 different people. One group of people says you want a power chair so you can save your shoulders. The other group of people says you got to use your shoulders so you can save your shoulders. And I'm like, What
I'm
the?
team number two. I don't want to. People always suggest a power chair to me or a motorized scooter, and I mean, I did. That's what I did in college, and it had a general decrease in my health. So I want to,
See,
stay rolling, pushing myself
and I
as
think
long as
that
I
that's
can.
definitely a good regiment. Is if you have like obviously if you're in a manual, you're going to be working out all the time because you're pushing yourself. But see, me in the power chair, I be lifting, I be moving, and that's like I keep telling people, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna do the power chair route, you still have to do your pressure reliefs. You have to do your working out. Luckily, I'm a T3 T4. I mean, I people hate it because they're like that's for quadriplegics and stuff, but I'm like, well, I didn't ask for it. It was given to me. Okay, my insurance said I needed it, so I took it. But I shouldn't have to get into that. We all know what's going on with that. But yeah, my point is if you stay healthy enough to where you can like move around, then you should be okay as long as you keep moving. The trick is to keep moving.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah. Let's see here. What's the one thing that helped you the most growing up with that spinal bifida?
Oh, having a great mom who advocated for me for everything I needed every step of the way. Absolutely. Dad too. Dad was around until till I was 14. Then he moved to Florida. Him and my mom split, and then I went down for a few visits. He passed in 2018 when I was 34. So he was in my life for the first 14, and then I had like 4 visits with him over the 20 years after he moved from New York to Florida, and phone calls and stuff like that.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, but mom was 100% to this day. She still, um, checks on me and anything I need, and I'm checking on her because um, had a she was diagnosed with MS in '92 when I was about 7 or 8 years old. So she had it, and then she had my dad with her for like the next 7 years, and then she became a single mom with MS. So that right there, that's a tough lady,
Oh yeah.
strong lady.
Shout out, mom.
And she advocated for me when I was first getting into school. Everybody was thinking, special education, stuff like that, and then not to knock that at all. But my parents strongly advocated to quote unquote mainstream me. That's what they, I don't know if it's still the appropriate term, but that's what they called it back then. Just have me
Be
in
normal.
yeah. Well, have me in classes with kids without any disability, and no alteration, as minimal alteration as necessary to my education.
Right.
And I that worked out pretty well. My grades, I mean, C pluses, not the best, but
Thanks,
we
Austin.
got through it.
Appreciate that. Right. Yeah, nothing wrong with C pluses, man. I skated through all of school with C pluses because you know what? I realized that in the grand scheme of things, the only thing school really does is to teach you how to read, teach you how to write, teach you a little bit of arithmetic, but at the end of the day, it just teaches you how to be a good worker. It doesn't teach you how to run a business. It doesn't teach you how to do your taxes. It doesn't teach you how to pay your mortgage. It doesn't teach you how to raise a family. It doesn't teach you how to, you know what I mean? It doesn't teach you how to live life with a disability. I'd say that.
Yeah,
So,
I'd love it if they stuck in a general time management course. I feel like so many people, including myself, that's a tricky point in life is managing time properly. You can see, I was a few minutes late
hey,
to
I'm just
chatting with
glad I
you.
wasn't late this time, folks. It was not me. It was Eric. We can blame it on him. But I told him, I said, we got time. I got a Rick and Rowdy tonight, but that's not till a little bit later. We got a little bit of time still. So, luckily, we're able to get this in. And, like, I want to give everybody an opportunity. That's normally why we do a little headway. We have a room to where we can manipulate 15, 20 minutes on each side.
Mhm.
So, yeah, and people will tell you, man, like, ever since I've started this show, almost every single time I start one of these, something goes wrong to where I got to try to fix it, or it'll go wrong and I won't even know it's gone wrong. And I'll sit here the whole entire thing and I got like 2 microphones going. My voice is doubled. It's like, what in the world? I hear screeching and stuff in the background. Who knows? I don't know. But luckily, this one we tested. We had enough time to get everything around. Everything's working good. And we're getting it going. So moving on to the next one here. We got a couple left. What about traveling? You said you like to go play sports and stuff like that. Traveling must not be that much of a burden to you, huh?
Oh no, it's a real pain. But I get through it every time I do it. I wonder if maybe that was the last one. But
right.
so I one after all the other sports that I mentioned, the one that I didn't is kind of been the most rewarding, most involved. I am a professional arm wrestler.
Nice.
I've been doing that for 12 years. So I was taking martial arts lessons, and a gentleman who was an instructor there had some connections to elite level arm wrestlers in Erie, and they wanted to. They put on a tournament in Syracuse here, and I've always been told, because the crutches in the wheelchair, I've got good strong arms, and I've always been told that I should get involved in arm wrestling. So I took that opportunity, and guess what? I got my butt kicked the first time, and but I got the number for the gentleman who is now my coach and one of my best friends, and started going to his practices with a large team, and we all got better. And within 3 years of that, I was going to my first ever national tournament out in Tahoe, Nevada.
Nice.
And while there, I met, I'm sorry, before going there, I went to a regional in Philadelphia. And while at a regional in Philadelphia, I met a gentleman who, if you happen to be a Philly sports fan, you'll know him as the Philly sports guy. His name's Jamie Paye. And he saw me in Philly. And then I advertised that I was going to Tahoe for the national championship, and I was looking for a sponsor. He sent me his company's. He's got a masonry company. He sent me his company shirt, and he was my sponsor to go to Tahoe. And I won nationals of the disabled division, and then from there I went to. He basically said, in for a penny, in for a pound. And he sponsored me, myself, my coach. He and his friend, was a documentary filmmaker, all went to Budapest, Hungary for my first world championship. I placed second and third. I didn't quite get it there.
Nice.
But
I mean, still, that's Budapest, Hungary, dude. That's it's quite a ways from home.
Yep. And I met another arm wrestling promoter who invited me to another world championship for a different federation. And so the Budapest was in September, and then I went to Poland in November. Shot more of the documentary, and won some more arm wrestling matches. I think that's I got one of my first world championships there.
I gotta check that documentary out.
Yeah, still in some post-production. We're still working on it, funding and whatnot.
Yeah. Once you get it, let me know, dude, and we'll make sure it gets broadcast on the Wheelchair Mafia platform.
Awesome, thanks. So the total of the awesome places I've been is Budapest, Poland 3 times. I had one in Orlando. World championship in France, and a world championship. My last one was in Greece. This year, I've got the opportunity to go to Japan in late September.
So you're pretty much an arm wrestling wheelchair badass. Like, you're just like a wheelchair arm wrestling badass.
Sort of.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I think about that too. About how strong the upper body gets after this. And I mean, obviously you have to work at it. I'm not nowhere near as strong as you, but like I get like you know what I mean? The amount that you gain with an injury, especially having to be in a wheelchair all the time, and having to lift your body up and move and transfer and everything else. Like, you're just pushing muscle all day long. So yeah, that would be interesting to check that out, guys. Keep your eye out for that. Make sure you follow Eric. All right, last question of the day, sir. If you were to give your best piece of advice out to all your peers and anybody watching this right now, what would it be?
Don't let your diagnosis or prognosis limit your expectations for yourself. Obviously, be safe. Don't push yourself to a point of further injury or anything like that. But also, if you think there's a chance you can walk and you want to work at it, and again, if it's not strongly discouraged by professionals, then do whatever it is you're after, pursuing a degree, an occupation, writing a book, a film, whatever it is that you're aspiring to accomplish. Don't let anybody talk you out of that. It's it's not going to be easy, and you've got some extra barriers, especially if you have some extra barriers, like a disability. But be good to your family, be good to your friends. I know an issue that I've got is I don't love accepting help, and when I do get help, I feel a heavy feeling of being indebted to someone, and I want to reciprocate that help. But don't let those things burden you to the point where you give up on whatever it is you're pursuing. Because as long as you've got a heartbeat, there's a way to accomplish anything.
Well said, sir. Well said, Mr. Eric Komar. Make sure you guys go check him out. We're going to put all of his stuff in the description in the bottom here. So if you want to check him out, make sure you do that. Eric, you're going to send me all the stuff and links that you want to share with people so they know where to find you and what to click on. We'll put all that in here later on. And then besides that, stick with us next week for another episode of Wheelchair Wednesday. Don't know who it's going to be or what's going to happen. Could be a surprise. We might not even have a show. Who knows? Might take a break for the week. But regardless, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And to everybody else, we'll see you next time. Eric, stay with us. We'll talk to you here in a second. To everybody else, we'll see you next time here on Wheelchair Wednesday. See you.